All right, you filthy bunch of animals.
Okay, let's go.
All right, you filthy bunch of animals. Where are we again?
We are between Durian Bay and
Mansland.
somewhere on the coast.
Somewhere on the coast at a camp, a national park camp. We just don't know what it's called, but it is unbelievable. The track getting in was a little bit wild. We had a bit of a blow up, Zayla and I. Why I had a blow up, I'll address it, but I won't apologise. Anyway, it was wild. It did say no caravan and no... Yeah, it did at the start, and it was just a very, very tight track getting in. Wild, the old poo roll had to go in the four-wheel drive, and she lifted a couple of wheels, but yeah, it's definitely worth it. As you can tell, it's incredible. We were only coming here for one night, but we decided that we're going to stay 2 nights. So while we're here, we thought it was time to do a little bit of a rundown, because we get many questions about the car and what we've done to it, and we've changed a few things, nothing crazy, but we thought we've been on the road for
11 months.
11 months, so we thought it's time to do a little bit of a rig rundown of the Patrol, the crib, the house, the luxury, the penthouse view, you know, as you can tell. So, boom, what do you want to start with, the car?
Yeah,
We'll start with the Canopy, all right? So, driver's side door, she's pretty chocked at the moment because from our work stint, we ended up adding a few things to the car.
Lots of Vinnie's clothes.
Lots of Vinnie clothes. Thank you very much, Vinnie's, really cheap. If anyone's on the road looking for clothes, I'm telling you, Vinnie's, they have tags and everything on it. They're like brand new. Boom. Julka hot water unit. It's awesome, I'll be honest. We haven't used it as much as what we thought we would have, only because we have minimum amount of water. We don't have any water tanks on the Patrol. We only carry our big 25 litre, 20 litre at the back, and then our bottled water that we drink. So, plus we've never really been anywhere where we've been like, wow, we need to have a shower. Like, I've gone about 7 or 10 days without having a shower before, but that's just me, I'm a grub. But we've used it on the Gib, it was good. We had some leftover water and we're like, you know what, we'll use it. Easy to set up. It has a little fold out shower awning thing. I've only ever used that for having a big bog in the morning when there was people camping near. And
but it's also really good for having, like, if you need to get changed or stuff as well. It's good to have that.
yeah, nah, I don't care about that. I get naked in front of people. Sorry, yes, no, Zayla, really good. Good for getting changed in front of people, okay? What? Moving on, boom, boom. The kitchen. Hey? Oh, a little bit jammed, but we're right. Yeah, that's the kitchen.
Just all your cutlery, cups, one pan, one pot, a kettle, but we've got the jet buoy, so we don't really use that. We've got vacuum seal bags to vacuum. We have used them a few times, although sometimes just a Ziploc bag's just as good, but they are very handy as well. Yeah.
Pretty basic, nothing too crazy going on in there. Little shelf got made just before we left because there was actually no shelf in here up until about the week before we left, and I'm very glad we did because it's utilises a lot more space because we do have a big canopy. It's 2200 long, so it's not like a dual cab where you're restricted and you've only got a small amount. We've got a fair bit, so we were able to utilise it with the tray. Also, old mate made us up this little compartment that sits flush with the I guess you'd call these the cupboard.
Yeah, the wardrobe.
The wardrobe, that's the word I was looking for, wardrobe, because this is all we live out of. His and hers. And that's it. That's our wardrobe.
Captain and two full outdoors there. Yeah, they're pretty chock-a-block at the moment.
Yeah.
Coming into a bit of a cooler weather, so we've brought out all the jumpers and
Yeah, head and
Chains,
shoulders
chassis.
ultra men.
2-in-1.
2-in-1, yeah. Anyway, not much happening there, but obviously next time round we have plans of building everything completely different, and that's the cool thing about once you do it, you have ideas of what you want more of, what you want less of, what you use, what you don't use. It's one of those things you don't know until you actually get out there and have a crack. We'd done a lot of camping before we'd done this trip, but you know, a week at max camping. So there's a difference between a week and 11 months living out of a car, because when you're camping on a weekend or so what, you just get back and you've got room to put everything, but here you've got to have everything in the crib.
Kind of like a trial up to see what you need and what you don't need.
Yeah, totally. This stuff's kind of stuff that we're not using at the moment. I've got an air filter, spare fuel filters and all that type of stuff, just because obviously it's very known to get water in fuel in those more remote fuel stations. It being an old petrol, big old dinosaur engine, the water doesn't affect it, but it's there just in case. The old girl runs on water, okay? So, what else we got?
Behind there as well with people that are sort of NGR, stuff we don't use very often, fitting at the back. James fishing rod, essential. He's got his fishing rods.
You can see, but as we were saying before, we've got a fair bit of stuff in here. This side is basically what we live out of, because the other side's just kitchen, storage, fridge and all that.
Chainsaw.
Now, electrical side of this is a question that I do get asked on Instagram a fair bit. What setup do we run? What do we have? Is it crazy technical? Answer is no, it is so basic, this system. It's basically a solar panel. When we originally left on the trip, we had 150 watt of solar and it was fine back home, but as we made our way into like Northern Territory, your fridges are running a lot more constant. Once again, you don't know until you actually leave and travel. So your fridges are running more constant, which means that you're using more power. So we had 150, we're now upgraded to a 400 watt on the roof, which is incredible. We don't run much on our battery system. We've got 320 amps of lithium, which is a lot, heaps, but all we really runs off that's 100 and, how big is that fridge? 115 litre? 115 litre upright, and then we've got a 45 litre Engel fridge freezer, which we just use as a freezer, which is another awesome thing. Before we left, we just had 2 fridges, but now we run a freezer, which obviously saved us a lot of money because we can stock up on meat and bread that you can freeze and all that type of stuff. So basic system, 320 amps of lithium. I've got a Red Arc 2000 watt inverter. You can't really see it, it's nothing too fancy behind there, but as you can tell, it's on because we've got the Starlink running. Now, the thing that I changed is I did have BC to BC 25 amp. It wasn't cutting it. Basically, I was only able to get 25 amp while driving. So when we caught up with Sam driving on the road, he really looked after me, and we ordered a new Victron BC to BC and also a new Victron MTTP, which means that the solar is now separate to the car. So previously, with the one that I was running, it would pull solar and then it would also pull from the alternator, but it would utilize green power, so to try to pick the solar over the alternator. This one, basically, I can get 30 amps, 30 amps off the solar panel, and then I can get up to 50 amps off the alternator, so it charges like crazy. And because we're only running literally the Starlink, which is about 10 amp max, the fridges, because it's cooler now, it's it's not using nowhere near as much power. But yeah, we're lucky to use 15 amps max an hour with everything running, like Starlink, fridge, freezer, everything. Usually no Starlink, it's usually maybe max 8 amps, so we're not really using much. We charge the drone batteries and all that. But yeah, really good setup, and on our next one we'll do exactly the same. Try to stick the Victron. Victron's really good because everything's Bluetooth, so I can look in the cabin, I can sit out at the table, I can see everything that the solar's doing, what I've got coming in, and all that type of stuff. So Victron, really rate it, and we will be doing it with the next build and adding more Victron stuff to it. Electrical wise, what have you got anything to add? We don't have any induction cookers, we just have a cooker. We will get an induction cooker, but we won't use it as much as what we think we will, because we'll have a Weber next time. We just couldn't carry it because it's really big. But yeah, I think that's all the electrical. 2 160 amp Li-ion batteries, which are awesome. They're also got built-in Bluetooth, which is really good to check where you're at. Other side, we'll go to the other side. I'll do the car later. This bad boy, tell you what, if you don't have one of these, recommend it. If you can take your rubbish in, you can take it out. And look, Western Australia's been really good. I think I had a rant on one of the videos. Zale's probably gone through it and seen it and deleted it, but I had a rant because I'm like, if you can take your rubbish in, you can take it out. These things are awesome. This is just a crash pad one. Goes on the 35-inch wheel, but it just stores everything. Little hole at the bottom, so all your liquids and that drain out. But really, 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 really good. Rate it all the time.
Benefit of that as well is you can use it as like a wet bag. If we haven't personally used it as a wet bag, we only use it as a rubbish bag. At the moment, I've got some stuff in there that I didn't want to put in the Canopy, so you can use it sort of rubbish, wet bag if you need to as well. Other people have storage, store wet stuff.
Yeah, wet bag. Sorry, I just got to have a twerk off. All right, this is the kitchen side. Kaboom! Got a bit happening because we did a big shop. Yeah. So don't judge the way it's packed at the moment. I do. I judge Zayla for it. So this bad boy, Sam recommended. It's a shunt. I would not do another build without one. Previously, I just had a little volt gauge on the other side, and it just told you 13 volt, 11 volt, so be forth. This thing is hooked up. It tells you your percentage your batteries are on, what your solar's bringing in, what you're pulling out. Like it's just such a basic little thing that was, I think it was about $130 from BCF. It was the only one we could get in Darwin. It's just helped us so much to know where our batteries are at. And we were lacking battery when we were on the Dampier Peninsula, when it was really hot and, you know, the fridge was working, that was working. We didn't have the significant amount of solar at the time. Significant amount of solar at the time. We were dropping really dramatically, and we'd have to just go for a drive, you know, charge the battery. But now, sweet, we're awesome, really good setup, really basic, and we'll be doing nearly exactly identical next time. So, upright fridge, rum cans in there. This thing's really cool. We upgraded this when we were in Darwin. Just chocolates, you know. And I know what you're thinking, what this is used for, and no, I do not use it for food. I put it on my body and Zayla eats it. Yes, correct. So, upright fridge, 115, sorry, not whatever we said before, but we used to have 2 of these bad boys. Now, these are awesome Ingles, and I love them to death. These things use max like 2 amps. Like, it's ridiculous. But it's a lot of weight. I think it was about 75 kilos per one of these set up. So I had like 150 kilos of just fridge, freezer set up. So we were able to get one of these in Darwin, the upright, and I was always umming and ahhing because the pros and the cons. Pros of these, you never lose temp, it stays cool all the time. The cons of this was that every time you open the lid, all your cool air falls out. But if you're smart about it, you do a shop, you have your cans, you just get everything. And I'm only referring to like places like Darwin, you know, Port Hedland, where it was so hot that like everything was constantly working, not turning off, you know, because the fridges are working so hard. Plus, I don't really have airflow in the Canopy, which is one of those things you'll change once again down the track with a black rooftop tent. You know, it does get a lot of heat in it. But yeah, awesome. We were lucky. Sam was heading back home, so we were able to throw the fridge in. I didn't have to sell my other Ingle because I never want to get rid of these things. They're awesome, and you just turn them on and they just run. Now we've got this one and that together, they're max 8 amps an hour, and that's only when it's hot. So at the moment, because we've got the Starlink going, we're drawing 3 amps. So yeah, not much at all. Really, really basic system. I see a lot of people, when we were in Broome, a lot of people had issues with their fridges and their inverters and all that, but they were running like everything they relied on was electrical. So it's like one of those things where it's like, when it goes down, you're in a lot of trouble. but if you just keep it basic, and like we still use gas, I'm sure people would say, oh, that's dumb and all that, which I understand, but it's easy for us. We've literally filled that up once, and we only did that because we were heading to the gib.
So we didn't want to run out of gas on the gib.
So we were literally like, oh, we got to fill up. But other than that, probably jinxed us now. We'll run out. But yeah, that bottle has done us 11 months, and it's had one fill at what? How much was that? 20 bucks?
20 bucks, refill.
Simple, you know. But yeah, that's it. We got pull out kitchen. Zayla, do tell me if I'm like, just twirl your fingers if I'm going on too much, because you know what I'm like. You know what they all say, I talk too much and you don't talk enough. Basic setup, poles drop down, not going to set it up. This thing, once again, we built this 3 years ago, so everything was so new. Like, this was just out, you know, the uprights weren't as popular. They were there, but they weren't as popular.
So the pull-out kitchen's been great. You have so much space to work on. It's helpful having all that space.
Pull-out pantry, once again, we built this thing like 3 years ago, so this is all that was on the market, which was a Dun & Watson. Now there's so much stuff you can buy, it's crazy. It's like the pantries are huge, they got spots for coffee machines. It's ridiculous how crazy camping's gone.
We bought, like when we did the Canopy, because it was about 3 to 4 years ago that we built it before, bought even left on the line. Everything has had, you know, 3 or 4 versions upgraded. So we sort of got the first model of everything, but it's worked for us.
Just weight, you know, like heavy. Stuff's heavy. We try to keep it light, but it still adds up. No matter what you do, it still adds up the weight.
Yeah, I guess it's the trial and error. All these things as well.
Oh yeah, at the back. Sorry, I'll show you where the power comes in. So this bad boy, this is where our power comes in. So if we're ever at a camp or something, or we're lacking power, if you ever wanted a generator, set it up, plug in here, boom, boom, powers. I've got a power point in there that powers a Victron 30 amp battery charger that charges the batteries, and then it also powers the fridges. So the good thing about that is if you plug in there, the fridges actually choose 24 volt over 12 volts. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, shower awning folds out, drops down. The bushwhacker awning, this thing's good. It's once again, it was one of those things that we got when they weren't out. So this was like one of the first freestanding awnings that you could get. This is the second model, because the other model I ended up giving to my brother because he bought this, didn't realise 6 month wait because he's stupid. So we got this, but it's been good, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I rate it. Like, it's actually...
It's 270 degrees, so it goes all the way around.
Yep. And it's just simple. There's no poles. You can put a pole. We do put the pole down, but it's just easy. Zip, folds all the way out, comes all the way over to here. Once again, it was one of those tents everyone's like, oh, why did you turn on backwards? But when we got our awning, they didn't have them options to have the little opening things to do through the back. Oh, there's a solar panel too. It's huge. As y'all can see, it's 410 watt solar right there. House panel too. I know that'll rev some people up because they're like, why you got a house panel when you could have a 12 volt panel?
Efficiency though.
Mm-hmm. And that thing cost $100 opposed to $400 from 150 watt one. So
right now, when it's cloudy, it's still drawing. It's not much. It's like what, 2 amps, 3 amps?
It's a bit more than that. It's because there's no sun, but usually on a cloudy day, it's like 8 to 10 amps. So our old panel on a good day would draw 11 amps max.
Yeah.
So
we're still getting solar when it's not sunny, which our other 12 volts, so it's a tiny bit of cloud on the corner of the panel.
that's the difference between a house panel and a 12 volt. House panels are designed to be on a house, not a car. And if it's got a little bit of shade, you'll still get good amounts of power. But with the 12 volt ones, as soon as you get one little shade on that panel, it just doesn't work well at all. So that's a big difference. But one of those things is very, very flimsy, so we've actually had to support the sides of it. And yeah, it's worked well. So, and Sam had the same one, and he'd driven around Australia twice. He'd done the Gibb River everywhere, so you can't say the flimsy little break. And even if it does break, I can get 4 of those for the price of one 12 volt. Yeah, so a bit of numbers, driving and that together would pull about 70 amps of power. 30 and then 50, 60. I can do numbers, I'm pretty crazy, I can count. Boom, boom, all right, we're back on. 2 jerry can holders. Wheel holder, pretty basic at the front, nothing too crazy. Well, I think it's your time to go to the penthouse and do a talk.
So this is a rooftop tent, the penthouse. Look at the view. Stunning. We decided to turn our rooftop tent around so it's sort of facing the front of the car, and this is where we get in. So there's a little platform. So we brought a muck mat, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Wait, tell them what dirty shit we do in there. Tell them about the wild things that happen in there.
And this is great because it stinks.
No, I'll let you go.
It's really great because you can wipe your feet before you enter into the tent. The old tent, we had a motop and we used to have it facing around the other way, and we'd get in through the back, and you'd sort of, it was a constant battle for taking your shoes off.
Start the camera real quick and I'll get back.
No, I have to start that again. I can't remember what I said.
No, I'm doing, you keep it right. I just want to
We'd put storage up here, but then never did. So Shane stuck down. Shane, what did you use to stick down the muck mat?
Huh?
What did you use to stick?
Duct tape.
You used a bit of duct tape.
I used
Sikaflex from Bunnings.
Bunnos.
From Bunno, sorry. And we just stuck that down on a little sort of plastic board. And this acts as our little sort of platform. When we come up, we can sort of wipe our feet, take our shoes off before we enter the penthouse. So, obviously it's double canvas. This is the Bush Company, ASX. And it's got double canvas. So, canvas on the inside, and then there's a canvas sort of window on the outside that we do them up of a night time. And there's also one on the outside here. We love these rooftop tents because they're not only really spacious, but there's carpeted roof. The floor is also carpeted. There's heaps of pockets. 6 pockets on the roof. And then we've got 2 side pockets there, and we've got a little cup, or drink bottle, I should say, on each corner as well. We've got our doona, we've got an electric blanket that we got from BCF, which has been really good because we're heading south from Perth at the moment, so the weather's a little bit colder. So we've got our electric blanket, we've got another blanket as well as our doona, 2 pillows, and we can store everything in here. We don't have to take any of our bedding out, so we can close it. We can close the tent with everything inside. In those pockets we've got a fan. Obviously my jumper's hanging out there at the moment. I also keep spare sheets in the pockets as well, so that way if we need to change them and they're covered in sand, I don't necessarily have to wash them that day. I've got a spare in there anyway. Couple little straps to strap on if it's really windy, so they just go on these little, and just pins down onto the bar. And then there's this little awning as well, just on the outside of the tent there. It just helps if it's raining that you're not actually getting into the tent really wet when you're taking your shoes off. Stunning sunset. But yeah, that's about it for the rooftop tent. Also, the other thing of having this facing around the front of the car is it makes it really easy to close, because you can just stand on that little platform up there and pull the tent down without sort of struggling from the back.
Video, you ready? Alright, let's talk about the real deal. What's behind the big girl? Okay, we'll pop the bonnet. Come with. We get a lot of questions. Shane, how do you overtake so many Land Cruisers on the road, and how are you so fast? Well, There's been a bit of loving done to this car before we come, quite a lot. All right, I'll keep it pretty basic because I could be here for ages. Boom. Cross country, high mount intercooler, much bigger than the genuine ones that come. As many people know, patrols are known to get a little bit warm. Okay. Also known as a kettle sometimes. Luckily I haven't had that issue with this big girl, but you can never have enough preventative maintenance. Got that big boy on. Got the 6-fin fan shroud pulling that cooler air in. Kept with the genuine but aftermarket, if that makes sense. So Radius Fabrications do a genuine air box, but it's aftermarket, looks nice and fancy. I did have another one that had a pod filter, but when I did some cleaning, you could see a little bit of dust, and I'm like, nah, for the performance, it doesn't bother me. I'd rather have a reliable, genuine filter. Secondary fuel filter we got put on, geez, as soon as I got the car. That thing's awesome. Haven't really had to clean it out too much. What else? Dual battery system. So this battery, the dual battery under the bonnet, so technically we would have 420 amps of battery, but this one just runs all the accessories and all that. We do a lot of charging the drone batteries and the laptops off of that battery, the car, because we don't really use it for much more. Got a catch can as well, which is good. Every time I service it, I clean that out. Cruise control, that was a big boy. That only got put on about a week before we left, and I tell you what, it was the best money ever spent. Just a difference, like it stopped working here when we were coming back from the Ningaloo, and I was so upset and my leg was cramping, so got it fixed, and yeah, it's been awesome. Red Arc dual battery system down here. What else under the bonnet? Had a bigger scoop put on it. Yeah, that's the intercooler that I was talking to this morning. Sorry, earlier. The 4-inch snorkel, which looks cool, sounds cool, performs cool. Car wise, so engine wise, did have the engine reconditioned probably 4 years ago, so that's pretty fresh off the batch. Engine wise, I think that's pretty well it. This is a cell booster. We don't really use it that much. We have, but obviously with the Starlink, you don't really need it as much, but it's also helped us. Back home it doesn't really work. In the high country it's very, very bad. It needs at least one bus. In the flat open country like outback Queensland and all that, and through WA, it does help, but on Telstra. Steady lights. What else have we had done to the car? Currently running the 35-inch. I only got these put on before we'd left. I've never run Falcons. I'd had the Maxxis Razors on my work ute, and they just, like, I was lucky to get, yeah, very minimum amount of tread out of them. But these things, recommended by Sam as well, are incredible. I had Muddies on this previously, and I'll never go back to Muddies, to be honest. They're so quiet on the road. Like I've done nearly probably over 30,000 kilometers since doing this trip, and it's barely even worn. I do rotate them very often. Probably every 5,000 kilometers they get rotated. The rims, and it's got a front locker, an e-locker in it. We haven't used it yet, but I probably will try it out tomorrow, leaving out of here because it gets a little bit hairy. Yeah, it's a front locker. I put a new rear LSD in it probably 3 days before we left. My one had a little bit of metal shavings in it, so we thought we do not want to risk it. We will be putting a new one in it. Front Ironman winch. What else has been done on the car? It's had a fair bit done. Well, cost-wise anyway. Side bars. Oh, the suspension. How could I miss that? Superior remote res suspension. Now, a lot of people would say, why would you put $6,000 worth of suspension in? Back when I got it done, that was a lot. Now it's probably not really. It's incredible. Like, the way that you can adjust your suspension, like on the Gibbs. So I currently have the fronts at 4 and the rears at 6, I think. But when we're on the Gib, we can just drop everything down to 1, and it's just such a nice ride. You don't realize how much it actually helps your car, because it takes so much absorption and so much, you know, beating off the car going across those corrugators. As long as you got your tire pressures right and your suspension, literally this thing just, yeah, it's a very nice car to drive with that suspension, and it's so good because you can just manually do it. I know in today's world they've got digital ones that can do it, but once again, this thing's pretty basic electronic wise. There's not overly heaps to it. I can work on it, and I'm dog shit when it comes to mechanics. I'm not a mechanic at all, but I can work on basic stuff. But yeah, the suspension, so 3-inch lift. The rear's got 500 kilo constant coils, obviously for the weight, to allow for the weight because she's a heavy girl. And I've also got airbags in the rear as well to assist with the weight. Now, When the canopy's off, it's horrible. It rides horrible because the back's coil all around, coil brace as well. But when the canopy's off, it rides horribly because it's designed for weight. With weight, it's really well. The tent's so high, like you definitely get a bit of sway. Being coil all around, you know about it, but you just drive to your conditions. But yeah, I think that is pretty it. We've got the one thing I would always do again if you'll ever get in a car that's small, has a small fuel tank, is get a bigger fuel tank. This has got dual fuel tank. I think it's got 95 front and 80 litre rear. The amount of times that we've been able to punch through towns where the fuel prices are so expensive with friends that we're traveling with that have to fuel up, it's saved us a lot of money and being able to make those extra long trips and not be too stressed. So definitely a long range fuel tank if you are in the market to get a new car and you're going to do big traveling, and if not, dual system for sure. Only thing I don't like about the patrol ones is that on the Land Cruisers you got your sub and your main, they're both separate, but on this, the main tank, if you click your sub tank, the sub tank actually sucks into your main tank. It's a silly setup, but anyway, that's a Nissan thing. So yeah, I think that's pretty well it. It covers nearly everything on our car, and I'm sure on the next build we do, it's one of those things, there's always something to change. You're never going to be perfect. You could do it 3, 4, 5 times. There's always going to be something that you can change. But the good thing about doing it once is that you can remove those things that you don't really use and utilize, and yeah, change it. So yeah, I think that's pretty well everything. I can't think of anything more to cover. That's pretty well it. The car, the tent, you did a rundown of the tent, the canopy. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, that's our rig that we've been traveling in for the last 11 months, and we've enjoyed it. We've loved it. This thing has just been awesome. Like, you know, if you told me that I was going to live in a rooftop tent for 11 months, I would have been like, oh, that's a little bit crazy. But look, the places it can take you is phenomenal, and it's one of those things where, you know, it's the evolution. I'm sure that one day we will get to a caravan, but at the moment we are happy in the rooftop tent. It's just when it rains, we're not. But anyway, if you've got nothing else to cover, I'm happy with that. That covers it. And look where we are. How good is this? It's incredible. Beautiful. Even got a fire going, eh? Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the best, but anyway, it's going, and that's all that matters. Legally. Yeah, that's insane, isn't it?